Why do girls begin menstruation often several years before they can safely carry a pregnancy? Evolution favors traits that lead to the most number of successful offspring. While early pregnancy can lead to injury or death, more often it just leads to having more offspring. Why are boys able to get boners years before they can actually be a responsible parent? Because biology isn't perfect, and the idiots who believe that everything is intelligent design are idiots. We aren't sure why, but it was always that way. Girls have started menstruating at a much younger age than they did in previous generations. When my mom was a teenager in the 80s, she got her period at 16. Almost all of her female friends got theirs at 16 or later. When my grandma was a teenager, she got hers at 17. Said that was super common that some of her friends didn't start menstruating until they were 18 or 19. Well, I got my period at 12. For reference, I'm 26 now. I knew a few girls who started as young as 8, but most girls around my age got theirs somewhere between 11-13 years old. Something in our environment is causing women to start menstruating much earlier than previous generations. We have many guesses. Most revolve around diet, such as we eat more vitamins, minerals regularly, a surplus of body fat, or genetically modifying our food much more compared to previous generations, but we have no concrete proof of why it's happening. Many animals do this as well, prime example being cats. The general rule is the faster a species can reproduce the better, so evolution favors those who can reproduce earlier, gross as it is. Humans can survive independently of their mother, biologically speaking, as early as 6. In a high-threat environment, having kids ASAP is typically the fastest, surest way to survive as a species. Clarification: hormones in our food are not helping with this in a positive manner. Nobody knows. We think the problem started in the West in the mid-19th century and then gradually spread and worsened from there, but the records aren't very good. And that's really all we know. If we had to guess, the guess would be that it's dietary. If puberty's triggered by some threshold of stored body fat, and girls are reaching that threshold sooner than they're supposed toned, before their bodies are full-sized, and that would more or less explain things. There does seem to be at least a little bit of an association between childhood obesity and precocious puberty, so it's not impossible. Skeletal growth needs to catch up, usually. Because maturation is a process. A maturing body does not mean a matured body. Menstruation is a step in the process that allows for proper development. 30.5 is considered the optimal age for a pregnancy and birth. Instead of seeing the start of menstruation as a girl being able to conceive, it should be viewed as what it is, a stage of growth. There are the reasons others mentioned, but also, menstruation time isn't standard. I remember a bit of research mentioned that the age of menstruation has changed over the last few decades. It'd be great if that study could be found. I really don't remember it. But I do think age of menstruation is affected by external factors of the environment. Bad design. And it's not unique to us. Many species of animal can get pregnant at appallingly young ages. Guinea pigs can get PG at 3 weeks. In their case, they can usually handle it, but larger animals can really have trouble or even die. The real question we should be asking you is, why would someone who is a member of both conservative and Christian subreddits that can comment about Adolf Hitler spend time pondering why and when little girls get their periods? It's weight dependent when girls start menstruating. Girls used to be less chubby in the past, meaning that they passed the menstruation threshold at a later age, between 15 and 18. It was 17-18 in Victorian times, but I think around 16 is more normal as far as traditional ways of life are concerned. Girls starting to menstruate at younger and younger ages, before they are fully grown, is almost fully a result of the high-quality Western diets, where they can gain weight without having grown into it. Is this good or bad? It sort of depends on the context. Of course, we want girls to be healthy and well-fed, but we don't want them to get pregnant when they first get their period. Evolution doesn't care about safely. A cruel 50 death rate, for selfish gene evolution, is still a better strategy than 0 births and waiting until 18. It's also natural selection. Have 100 fertile 12 ewes, then half of them can have a safe pregnancy and carry many more children. Out of the other half, some will die with the first kid, so no more resources are wasted on them. Oh, and not every conception becomes a pregnancy. Miscarriages were even more common. I mean this in a very prehistorical way. Why can we get them pregnant long before we can support a kid? That's just biology for you. It's a warm-up. There's also a cool-down phase later in life. Maybe if we stopped putting hormones in everything, kids won't start puberty so early. I remember my mom talking to someone else, and I was eavesdropping. She said she didn't get her period until she was 16. Now it's 8 to 13 to start.